it as well. Why not just lose a few wheels to give the impression that you're not feeling too good to the other riders? When I was in a French team years ago, my team manager used to say to me, Mathieu, faire un peu de cinéma. You know, act a bit more. And I was like, what do you mean? And it wasn't. And then I learned that you don't have to do it all the time, but every now and again you don't need to show everybody that you're the strongest, especially when you've got quite a balanced field. You don't want to show your hand too much, and quite often if you suggest that you're on the limit, you get riders attacking, you draw them out, and then you just hit them hard over the top. I'm not saying that might happen today, but I don't want to call it just yet until he actually starts to lose the wheels, because he's a rider with a really cool head. He knows what he's doing. But I must admit, there are a few occasions on that previous climb where he did look to be in a little bit of distress, when that mouth open, that grimace. Looks a bit more comfortable now. But 31 seconds is our lead for Ottruba. He's absolutely romping up this climb. Only 2.8 k's to go.
I'm a bit worried to see that Frank van der Broek is still eating. That is rather late. Of course, we've had a really hectic finale. There's Masnada. That is pretty powerful, this one. We've had a pretty hectic stage, which makes it sometimes really difficult to eat when you have to. And to see Frank van der Broek still eat now at 2.6 kilometers from the line, I'm not sure if that's the moment you still have to do it.
I mean, yeah, that's by any stretch. Having a gel maybe, but eating at this point is pretty late, especially when you're doing a near, you know, a thresholdish kind of effort. And in a bit, these lads are going to go over threshold for a bit as well.
It's the two riders for UNOX at the front at the moment, Andreas Kroon and Johannes Koolsit. They also attacked on the previous climb, doing a really good job here, Andreas Kroon. Well, Poel sits in a third position. We also have the two riders for the Terengganu team, Stefan de Bot and Matthias Breinhoy. The Bot's a really good track record of the races here. But yeah, what we saw on the previous climb by Noah Ramsey was also pretty impressive. He's only 22 years young. He has got magic legs today, that's for sure. Does he already have the race savviness, the tactics to finish this off? Because I think he has the legs. Mathieu, yeah, I'm just going to call you Mathieu from now on.
That's Mathieu, it's fine. It's fine. I feel quite honoured, actually. No, he certainly looks to be floating. Looked very easy on that next climb. We've seen some splits here. The pace has really been forced. I mean, the class of Andreas Kroon is really ratcheting this pace up, putting a lot of riders under pressure. Interesting to see that the teammate of Poel, sitting second overall, Lopez, is dropped a little bit further back. Yep. So normally Lopez is moving up now, but now we've got an attack. Koolsit goes.
With Landerlooks, I think. And Poel's he doesn't have an answer to these short explosive attacks, so he can only try and manage his own effort. And that's what he's doing at the moment. This is Adrien Mayer being dropped. That is Landerlooks, so it was Giovanni Carboni at the front. Process of elimination there. Lopez, no problem with the explosivity. And that means that it's going to be really hard for this man from the Czech Republic, Jakob Ottruba, to finish it off.
I think it is. And also on these sorts of gradients, if you know the climb and you've read about the climb, you've ridden the climb in the past, quite often just knocking it off a little bit, dropping a few places on steep gradients means you can save 10 or 15 watts at this sort of level, and just lose a few places and then use a flatter section to move up. That's actually smart. So if you use the way that the climb gently ebbs and flows to have recovery, so to not push yourself into thread, even if it means moving down a bit, you can move up for free on other points of the climb.
And there goes Carboni.
That's a good bit of cadence he's got there, a bit of leg speed. Carboni, sorry. Very explosive ride. If I can get my words out, he's bridging that gap across to a fading Ottruba at the moment, who's labouring now on these steeper slopes. As you were saying, Joe, said it gets steeper towards the top. It's double digits. It's 10, 9% as we get towards the top of this climb. So it really does ramp up near the top. And you can see the pace, the momentum that they had on the lower hairpins is now starting to slow. And it's a real crawl up this steep section.
Quite fascinated to see that he's racing with a speed suit with full arms, despite the temperatures here in Turkiye. But that was a pretty impressive effort. At the moment, it's Stefan de Bot at the front with Johannes Koolsit. But that look, he's just speeding past Otruba here at the moment is Giovanni Carboni. What a formidable name, by the way, for a bike rider.
It's
on a carbon bike.
Yeah, it just feels like it's you're born to ride a bike. It feels right, doesn't it? It feels like one of those names from back at the times of Fausto Coppi, doesn't it? But yeah, he's a man. He's been consistent in this race. 9th on stage 2, 8th on stage 3, 10th the other day, and he's had a consistent season all year. Yet to get that win, but right now is looking very good.
Ooh, gritting his teeth there, quite possibly on his way to the 4th win for the Unibet Titema Rockets. He started today in 10th position, 1 minute 34 down. I don't think what's happening here. Oh, just some supporters. 1 minute 34 down. It's not going to be enough to take over the lead, but it's a good effort. Although there's attacks coming from the chasing group right now.
Yeah. You've got Lopez trying to jump across the gap, and Lopez is doing a good job. He's a little bit further back, but as I said, riding smart. So the benefit of dropping back is you can watch what everybody else does a little bit and then move up. He's opening up a nice gap here.
Yeah, and Pauls doesn't have to do anything right now.
No.
Because, yeah, he can't counter his teammate. There's 23 seconds between them in GC. 10, 6 and 4 seconds on the finish line. Look, there goes Pauls. They're going for the 1-2 again. They're just going for that 1-2 again at XDS Astana and leaving the win to the man from Ecuador, quite possibly. But Pauls on the attack right now, bridging across to Giovanni Carboni. This is all about keeping that turquoise leader's jersey and, of course, keeping it in the team. Lopez glancing over his shoulder. Right now, he was, of course, the runner-up in our Queen Stage, the 24-year-old from Ecuador. And about Pauls bridging across to Giovanni Carboni at the moment. We're inside the final kilometer on our way to the house of the Virgin Mary. It's the young Colombian there, Martinez, for the Picnic Postinel team. But look at Harold Lopez Martin. He's absolutely flying. He won the overall classification in the Tour of Hellas. That was about 3 weeks ago. And I think he's on his way to winning here. Yeah, well, Pauls, of course, he sits on the wheel of Giovanni Carboni. He doesn't need to let the gap become too big. Hopefully he can still snatch a few bonus seconds and keep that jersey. But it seems like, of course, he's not going to contest. Yeah, he's not going to contest his teammate for the win, especially since he already won a stage. It looks like Harold Martin Lopez is on his way to the stage win here, with Wout Pauls currently leaving Giovanni Carboni behind, and XDS Astana on their way to another 1-2 in the Tour of Turkey. Very successful so far for the team from Kazakhstan. This is Johannes Koolset currently in 4th position. But yeah, it's another masterpiece there for XDS Astana on their way.
Yes, impressive stuff. They've worked it so well. They've played a really calm hand, and they had the team, or every single rider from the squad was at the front in the crosswinds, and then they rode the climb before. They rode conservatively, didn't get involved in the action too much, held off a little bit. Clearly Pauls was in a bit of difficulty, but this is, yeah, a masterful performance, sharing the spoils around. It looks like it is going to be another 1-2.
Yeah, the Queen Stage, stage 4, it was a 1-2 for XDS Astana. But Pauls was the man who won that stage, and now it's up to his much younger teammate, Harold Martin Lopez from Ecuador. Final 100 meters for him. He gets 10 bonus seconds. It won't be enough to take over the lead. That jersey will stay on the shoulders of Wout Pauls. But it's going to be the 3rd stage win for XDS Astana. They came to the Tour of Turkiye to get points, and oh boy, points they get, because they win another stage. They stay 1 and 2 on GC. Harold Martin Lopez wins here in Selçuk. Wout Pauls in 2nd place, and he stays leader in this Tour of Turkey with 2 relatively flatter stages to come. Johannes Koolset in 4th. Looks like Otruba just no, it was Balderstone. It was, and this is Giovanni Carboni. Good attack by him. Yeah, but XDS Astana did another masterpiece. This is Martinez.
Yep. There you go. Good. Stage win. That's stage win number 3.
Yep.
For the XDS Astana team. Boy, we talked about them being on a roll. I didn't expect, well, I wasn't going to predict another 1-2, but just the way they've been riding, I mean, very well, just a perfectly executed day today. And they're just the two of the strongest riders. But just divvy up what they did before. Pouls just didn't put himself in threat, even rode a little bit further back, maybe just to suggest to the opposition I've got a weakness, when ultimately he didn't. He was the strongest and hit them hard. So Pouls, when he went to jump across, he made 2 moves today, and both of those moves created distance between him and the other riders. So perfect execution of a plan, and the best use of the resource that you've got as a team and also as an individual as well. That was textbook stuff, and fair play. They've spread the spoils around. Pouls still remains in the lead, and both of them have opened up the gap onto 3rd place heading into the final 2 stages. So you've just got to doff your cap to the squad. They've ridden there brilliantly, entertaining stuff as well.
I think that we saw Frank van der Broek finish over a minute down. So that is going to have some results for the GC, especially for Giovanni Carboni, who's going to move up.
He'll move right up. Yeah, he'll move right up into the GC.